In my America, we're not as divided as the press and the government lead us to believe. There are many great things and ideas that bind us together. Great people who love and care about the American way of life. And no, I'm not talking about national politicians. I'm talking about everyday people who live in your communities and that are involved in making your lives better. But there's lunacy too. There are those who don't have your best interest at heart, most of them in places of power. And their ideas are twisted and downright nuts. I'd be remiss not to point them out from time to time, and well, this is one of those times. Let's start with New York City, the crazy capital of the East Coast. Eric Adams, the new mayor, was elected on a law and order platform who pledged to reduce crime and make New York City citizens safer. But then what happens? But then there's a new Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, who announced that he's not going to be prosecuting some crimes and he's going to downgrade a lot of crimes to low-class felonies and misdemeanors. For instance, armed robbery is going to be downgraded unless somebody gets shot or killed. And you add that to the state bail reform law. A lot of these criminals are processed and just put back on the street the same day. But wait, we ain't done yet. New York City recently announced they're going to let 800,000 illegal residents vote in local and municipal governments. What is that? Don't they have any regard for the legal residents? I don't know what goes on in these big cities. It seems like the people in power are at war with the people who elected them. And I'll be fair, it's not just New York City. A lot of the West Coast cities and other big cities across the country have these crazy policies already in place. I don't know what it is about big cities and crazy policies. If you have any answers about that, let me know. Now let's move on. Speaking of elections, Build Back Better ain't doing so good for old Joe. It's pretty much dead in the water. So what we got to do now is push the voter integrity law. Oh boy, this is a doozy. So Joe went down to Atlanta today to push that. There's a lot of crazy things in this, from ballot harvesting to same-day registration to unlimited mail-in balloting. The list just goes on and on and on. If the Democrats have their way on this, it's going to pretty much federalize elections. Take the say-so from the states and place it on the federal government. Folks, this is really, really bad. This is worse than the inflation that Joe's facing. We can't let them have this, so get a hold of your congressman and tell them, no, I don't think so. And that's all for now, folks.